Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. For today, we have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the incredible James. James, how are you, man?
I'm very good. How are you, Dan? It's always good to be back here.
Right? I mean, what better way to
Yeah.
have an incredible, badass day than to chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
And you, my friend. It's always a blast.
I love it. Now, for those who are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps a lot. But most important, on the description below, you're gonna find all of James' social media. Let's follow him. You can put pause here for a while, go follow him, make him viral. Hashtag Team James, and then come back. Now, without further more, let's jump in. So for this episode, we're gonna be basically chatting about the top films of all time, accordingly to IMDb. We'll see if we agree or not. If we perhaps we could switch films here and there, and we'll see what happens. All right.
Cool. All right.
Cool. So at number one on this list, we have the Shawshank Redemption. What do you think about that one?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that is a phenomenal movie. I actually don't know what the list is, so I'll be surprised every number you say. But I I love that movie. I think it definitely is. It's
Yeah.
probably a top 10 for me.
Yeah.
Would I say it's my favorite movie of all time? I mean, when you're for movies, there's so many different genres and so many different
Totally.
styles. It's hard to kind of, but as far as like an overall just story goes, oh, it's satisfying. It's
Mhm.
satisfying. I recently actually rewatched it this Christmas, and
Oh, okay.
I hadn't seen it for a long time because I think I saw it when I was maybe a teenager or something. So I went back and I was like, I kind of want to see what this is all about. And man, it gut punched me. Like it's so good. You hate the bad, like the way the story unfolds. They just make you hate the prison warden so much, and you get such a good payoff at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, for people that haven't seen that movie, it's definitely 100% one of my top 10. So I think it's very suiting that it's up there.
Yeah.
It's such a. What do you think?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I love that. That film. It's definitely one of my favorite films. I mean, I will
Yeah.
rewatch it perhaps like every once a month, or
Mhm.
twice a month, because I do love
Wow.
that film. It's a pretty cool one. And
Yeah.
yeah, like the performances are amazing. I mean, Morgan Freeman, incredible
Oh my
job.
God.
Yeah, yeah, like
Incredible.
the way he's like narrating the whole story on it,
Yeah.
and the fact that they mentioned Mexico, it's so funny that
Oh
that
yeah.
that he goes to a place called Zihuatanejo, which I've been there, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty cool. I love that film.
Do you know? I after I rewatched it, I got pretty obsessed with it, and I went and watched a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. And did you know that they originally didn't have that ending where they meet each other?
He didn't?
So they didn't have that ending. They in I think the original, it was either, don't quote me on this, but I think it was the like the director's cut just had Morgan Freeman kind of driving off towards the border, and they just wanted people to imagine it.
Oh,
But I think when they started showing it to people, there was a lot of people that just felt like it was a little unsatisfying. They wanted to see them together again after like how harrowing everything was.
yeah, of course.
So they went back and reshot the scene in Mexico on the beach or whatever. They probably like did it shot in LA or something like
Yeah,
that. But they went and shot that, or maybe they actually traveled for it. Who knows? They had a lot of money for a film back then. But then they added that in, and damn it, like I tear up every time that, or I definitely teared up on at Christmas when I watched it when that
mm-hmm.
happened. You just, cause it's just the brotherhood and the how much they went through together. They give you that satisfying ending, which is
Yeah,
it's nice because they
yeah.
could have ended more ambiguous.
Yeah, it ends perfectly.
Yep.
It definitely touches like a lot of topics, like all yeah, it's a incredible film. I love it. And like
Mhm.
every now and then whenever I have those feelings, I'm like, I want to do the same thing, just buy some place random in the middle of a beach and just create a business there doing, just enough to survive, things like that.
Yeah.
But besides that, yeah, the film is incredible. I mean, it's and like the thing that shocked me the most the first time I saw it is that it's based on a novel by Stephen King.
I forgot. Yeah, it is. It is. Damn, that guy's a genius.
Yeah, that got. I remember like when I saw him, I was like, wait a minute, that was the guy who
Yeah.
traumatized me with it. He can't. I
Yeah.
mean, what am I like? What I'm about to see on this film, and it's a total different thing, like totally different, but it's amazing.
It kind of checks out because he also wrote Green Mile, right? Stephen King, and that
Yeah.
same director who directed Shawshank directed Green Mile.
Mm.
So there is a lot of if you really think about Shawshank Redemption, it is kind of a horrific film in the sense of what the guy has to go through to
That's
to
true.
find to find his redemption.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
Like
Yeah,
it's
and
terrifying
yeah,
being
all of
framed and. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, no, hell no. But yeah, it is definitely on top one for sure. I agree. So we both agree on that one, right?
I
That was
agree. I now did it win? I don't know if we can do. I can do a Google search right now. Did it win Best Picture that year? I don't think it did. Maybe it
uh
did. It should have. But I'm so curious. Like I kind of want to see Shawshank
I think
Best
it
Picture.
I think it did. I'm pretty sure
It,
it
it,
did.
I hope so. What is it? Shawshank Redemption Best Picture. Okay, it was nominated.
But didn't won.
It won none.
You're kidding
It
me.
won. It won none. It was nominated for
Man,
Best Picture, Best Actor. What? That is
nothing.
empty-handed. It left the Academy empty-handed. I don't know which movie won that year. Oh, it was going up against Forrest Gump.
Oh. Oof.
That's a great movie too.
Yeah,
That's a
that's a
great movie
great. Yeah,
too.
I get it. Yeah, that's a
But
tough
it
one. Tough
it
call.
but still though, I mean, oh yeah, they're both timeless. They're both timeless. How do you compare those? Those are just.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't
But
compare
damn,
them. Hmm.
they should have given it at least a couple though, because that movie was
For
phenomenal.
sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised. But yeah, now you put it with Forrest Gump. Yeah, it's a tough call.
Yeah, but it did. Forrest Gump didn't make #1 movie on the IMDb list, so
No, actually, no. Yeah, and you'd be
yeah,
surprised at what number it is. But anyway.
yeah,
So for number two, we
yeah.
have The Godfather.
Okay, I'm glad. I've actually seen so far that I feel like I'm gonna get embarrassed if you say some that I haven't seen yet, because being a film buff, I pride myself on seeing everything. But Godfather is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
What else can you say? I mean, the making. There's that great show. Did you watch the show about the making of The Godfather?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't watch that one.
It's phenomenal. It's based on like a book about like how crazy it was, and they were literally going up against the mafia because the mafia didn't want the movie made because of the way it portrayed them, and like, The Godfather is a phenomenal movie. I mean, I'd say it deserves to be on the top 10.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a particular taste. Like it might not make my top 10,
Yeah.
as far as like movies that hit me, but
Hmm.
I can see why the world would think that it's a top 10.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. It is a great. Who was the actor who did who played Vito
Marlon
Corleone?
Brando.
There you go. Yeah, that one. I mean, he did an incredible performance on that one.
Yeah, and Al Pacino's in it. I mean, and he was a nobody when they cast him. Like
Right? Yeah.
the studio didn't want him because he wasn't like traditionally attractive or whatever. And like the
Hmm.
director was like, "We gotta get this. This guy is so good." I think he almost walked because they like to have Al Pacino. But it's a great movie.
Yeah, I saw.
And
Yeah, it's
yeah,
incredible. I saw an interview once with Al Pacino that he was saying that for the first one they didn't want him.
they
You
didn't
know?
want him,
Yeah,
and
they
then it
didn't
made
want-
a career for him. It literally made him a star, that movie. So.
yeah, yeah, and he became like the icon of the mafia films. You know?
Literally, yeah, that's like totally, totally. Yeah,
Totally. Yeah. Now for number three, we got
yeah.
The Dark Knight. What do you think?
That movie is almost next to flawless for me. I love it. It's it deserves to be. It's on my top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, #3 all-time movies. That's incredible.
Hmm.
That it's a superhero film about Batman and the Joker. But it's so. I remember I got chills the first time I saw that movie in theaters. I went to IMAX. I literally remember where I was sitting in the theater, and I remember when the lights come down, and you get that city shot, and then the bank heist, like
Yeah.
barely can like breathe the whole time. I was like on the edge of my seat for the whole movie. Every time Joker came on screen, Heath Ledger just gives you the chills. Like it's so rare to have characters in movies just disturb, like to affect you that way. Like you never know what he's gonna do. Like it's the performance was a masterclass. The film itself was amazing. It's on my top 10 for sure.
Hmm.
My,
Hmm.
to get nitpicky, I felt like the only thing I would ever like. I think it's a near perfect film. I think the only thing I would maybe change about it is the third act felt like a little rushed. When they add in Two-Face and all that stuff.
Yeah, they should have focused only on the Joker and that
They didn't
and
need Two-Face.
yeah,
They didn't need him.
it didn't need him. Yeah, I do
Or they
agree.
could have maybe had him. He could have got burned or whatever, and then like set that up for the dark, the third one.
Yeah.
They could have said that. They just because oh man, there was so much, and I know it like they were using his character kind of as a as a storytelling thing between the Batman and the Joker and good and evil. And I get all that, but I just felt like there was a little bit too much at the end that they crammed in. But overall, man, what a phenomenal film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do think that that is like the best superhero films of all time
Oh yeah.
by
I
far.
would. Yeah, totally. And I would almost Guardians is up there for me too.
Yeah, I was gonna
It,
say that
it,
too. Yeah.
in a different way, but
Hmm.
I would Guardians is almost like a space opera. I don't even know if it counts as a superhero film. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost more in the realm of Star Wars than it
Yeah,
is
but
superheroes.
it's incredible. I remember when the last one was in cinema, I did it. Man, it hit me. That film hit me in so many ways. Like the volume three.
Yeah.
Oh man, but it was incredible. And I remember that I love the fact that I started like to think like I'm actually crying. I'm like, yeah, like I was actually crying for a
Yeah.
CGI raccoon. Like
I
how
know.
nonsense is that? But it's like the
Oh
whole
yeah.
way they pictured it. Yeah, it was incredible. But as you mentioned, yeah, I mean, they're not like superheroes, as Iron Man,
Mhm.
Captain America, people like that. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's a different realm. But between like in superhero stuff, definitely those two would be like my
Yeah.
top by far. So
Me too. And Dark Knight probably edges it out because it really is a true superhero movie. Like, yeah, yeah.
true,
It's
true.
and Christopher Nolan, so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Plus, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that one they record in Canada, right? The Dark Knight,
I don't know.
was
That'd be
it?
cool. I don't know if it was recorded in Canada. I don't think so, but maybe it might have been.
Yeah, I
That's
think it
a
was.
that's really
Uh,
cool if it was.
I think I heard something like. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think I heard something like that the other day.
Dark Knight
Film inter.
Canada.
No, it was actually most of the film were done in Chicago.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They do shoot Toronto for Chicago a lot, so I wouldn't be
Uh-huh.
surprised. But
And also it says here that the majority of film shoots were done in Chicago
mhm.
and its suburbs, but also London managed to grab a substantial chunk of the shooting locations. London.
Yeah, for the darker Gotham stuff, I
Yeah,
think
makes
that
sense.
yeah, the gritty. They wanted the gritty kind of London area.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Right. So for right, number 4, we have The
Hmm.
Godfather Part 2. What do you think?
Love it. It's to be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen either The Godfather or Godfather Part 2, but
Yeah.
uh I probably, if I remember correctly, I think I liked Godfather Part 2 more just
Yeah,
as an overall film.
the
Like
second one is
it's
in Cuba.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
most of the
phenomenal.
film is in Cuba. Yeah.
Robert De Niro, I think, enters the fray.
Yeah, he was super
There's
young.
yeah.
Extremely young
Dan,
on that one.
Francis Ford Coppola, like he knew how to cast actors. He found some like just incredible talent for those movies.
Totally.
Um, I don't remember much about him to be honest, because it's been so long since I watched him. I got to do a rewatch,
Hmm.
but I'd say it fits on there.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily. Once again, not my personal top ten,
Totally,
but
totally. Yeah, 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 I got it. Hmm.
worldwide, I get it. That makes
Hmm.
sense.
Now, for number 5, we have 12 Angry Men.
I have not seen this yet. I
Yeah, me
know I
neither.
need to. I need to watch it. I hear it's a really fascinating. I know a little bit about it. I hear it's a really fascinating tale on because you know the premise, right? It's like these 12 jurors are deciding on whether a guy's
Hmm.
guilty or not. I
Hmm.
think of
Hmm.
murder,
Hmm.
and every 11 of them say no, he's guilty, he's guilty, and only one of them says no, he's not guilty. Let's talk this out. And they all want to
There's
go home.
yeah.
And it's about him swaying each juror over to his side. So it's a really cool, I almost a masterclass in film, but also like persuasion and how you
Hmm.
can kind of, how um, people can change their minds and different techniques that you can use to kind of, help people see the truth and mob mentality. So
Totally.
it sounds like a cool movie. That's all I know about it, but I want to see it one day.
Yeah, same here. I didn't watch it too, and I've also heard that there's for some of the actors that I've interviewed that they watch the play.
I heard the play is really good too. That'd be,
Hmm.
I mean, it's a good setting for a play, right? Just 12 dudes on stage.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, for number 6,
Yeah.
we got the Schindler List.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm,
Incredible. Incredible film. I mean, powerful.
yeah.
Uh, it almost feels like a historical documentary, it's so well done. so intense. I just remember the red coat, like that scene is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. The movie's beautiful, cast incredible. That was Steven Spielberg at his finest. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because I know his family is connected to the Holocaust. He felt like such a burden and to make this film right,
Yeah.
and he probably barely slept at all during the pre-production and production of it, but what he delivered was phenomenal. Yeah.
Plus, I do. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but was it also one of the first Liam Neeson projects he was in?
Liam Neeson. I mean, it probably put him on the map as like an A-lister, but I think
Mm-hmm.
he was acting like a
Yeah,
lot
way before that.
before
Yeah,
that.
yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think
Yeah,
that film was kind of the catapult, right?
yeah, and Ray Fiennes too, man. Like
Yeah.
playing that bad guy, like he plays him so well. This just German, commander
Yeah,
guy
he's an
who,
amazing actor. Yeah,
and that
incredible.
just be after that he just played some incredible villain roles. Like he, just complex. Like, God, yeah, that movie was definitely a star vehicle for a couple of phenomenal actors. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know,
Now, so far with the list, would you change one to be like, you know what, I'm gonna, I will be putting this one at number, for example, let's say, would you put the Dark Knight at number two, or be like, you know what, no, it's fair, or be like, no, I'll be changing
it's
one.
hard
What do
to
you
know.
think?
What's I mean, at this point, I would probably. I mean, Shawshank uh, is pretty strong. Number one,
Yeah.
can't complain there. I mean, having the Dark Knight at number three excites me.
Yeah.
What I'd probably put it above The Godfather personally, just because as far as the movies that I enjoy, it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
up there. Um, it's hard to say about 12 Angry Men because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Um, if I got to rewatch The Godfathers, but I honestly, if I remember correctly, I almost would put Godfather Part Two before Part One.
Mm.
As far as just an overall storytelling
Mm-hmm.
experience goes, I remember just liking it way more.
Yeah.
But there's always the thing about the original because it sets, it's like the Empire Strikes Back syndrome, or like the sequels that come out. They don't have to do all the work of setting up the characters again. They can just like
Mm-hmm.
it
They will
was
just,
almost like before TV series were that's such a
yeah.
big thing. It was like the middle movie in a trilogy was almost the way where you could like just explore all those things. So I thought that was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the next one here for number seven, we have The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Whoa, that they're putting that before
Two Towers
Fellowship
and
or Two
Fellowship.
Towers. Yeah, interesting. I would. I mean, it's a good movie. I loved it when it came out. I loved that trilogy greatly, but I would. That one rings a little weird for me. I'd put like the first Lord of the Rings before Return of the King for
Yeah.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
One of the things that I didn't, I mean, the film is amazing, The Return of the King, but
Hmm.
what I kind of a little bit hate is the fact that there has like four endings, something like that.
Yeah.
Ah, that was so
Yeah.
frustrating. Like, this
I
is the
know.
ending. I'm kidding. This
Yeah.
is the ending, And I was like,
Yeah.
when is it gonna end? You know what I mean?
It was really, I saw it in theaters. It was very hard to sit, like, I think at that point everybody just had to pee, and you think it's over, you think you got like 30 minutes left, and then all of a sudden, yeah, there's like another hour.
Yeah,
I,
you're like, are you kidding me
yeah.
now? Yeah.
And I get it was like Peter Jackson not wanting to let go, is what it kind of felt like. He didn't want to let go of those characters. You felt the love of that in it,
Mm-hmm.
but it also, as an overall movie,
Yeah.
they could have shortened that ending like probably like 30 minutes if they wanted to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that is the only thing why I'm like, but the
Well,
Fellowship and the Two Towers, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, at least, yeah. To me personally, the Two Towers would be kind of first, then the
mm.
Fellowship, and finishing with Return of the King by far. Yeah.
Once again, it's the whole like middle movie in a trilogy thing where
Right.
you just get to have fun, get dark because you don't have to like wrap it all up. I'd almost agree. Like I think I enjoy Two Towers as an overall movie more. I think it's the shortest one too, if I'm not mistaken.
Perhaps it
Um,
is. Yeah.
it might be, but it you just have fun, have battles, and you don't have to resolve anything, and you don't have to like spend a bunch of the movie like setting up the
Yeah.
characters. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. It was a good one. Yeah. Right. So for at number eight, we have Pulp Fiction. What do you think?
Love it. Love it. That's on my top 10 for sure. One of my favorite movies of all time. Tarantino, I got a soft spot for him. I basically love everything he does. But Pulp Fiction is is a movie that affected me
Yeah.
deeply when I
Really?
saw it. Oh yeah, I've watched it so many times.
Okay.
Just not just as an actor, because the acting in it is incredible, but I think when I was younger too, I always wanted to be a filmmaker, which I do dabble in a little bit of too, like writing and producing
Yeah.
and all that. But and hopefully directing one day. I want to direct a feature. But just as a filmmaker, like his voice is so unique, and the way he told that story is so um you know non-traditional. Like the structure of it is all over the place, and he proved that you don't need to like follow this like set formula to like make something incredible,
Mm.
like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a formulaic film by any means. And he changed the game, I think, when he made that movie. Like a lot of people tried to copy it after to like
Yeah.
better and less success, but
Mm-hmm.
uh one of my favorite movies of all time. I'd probably put that, God, I might even put that number one for me, or maybe, it's definitely, it might be in my top three. Top
Okay.
three.
Okay.
Love it.
I'll leave it like that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, his yeah, Quentin films are. I also love. Yeah. What he does. It's incredible. A couple of days ago, I rewatched Hateful Eight. Definitely, one of my favorite westerns of all time. You know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's incredible. I mean, yeah, his pictures are super cool
Yeah. Agreed.
by far.
Agreed.
So so at number 9, here's the thing.
Oh.
So at number 9 we have the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring.
Huh.
Now the thing here that I was thinking about is, for example, would it be better if we, let's say, if we leave at number 7 the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy instead of, I think would be
Yeah,
kind of better.
if you can count trilogies, then I would say, yeah, probably in my top 10, if you could count trilogies, Lord of the Rings would be there. Um, Godfather would be there. Um, if you could just count like full trilogies, but I get that as a standalone piece, it's a movie, so I get that they don't do that. But it is fascinating that the third one's higher ranked than the first one, yet Godfather is the it's interesting. I don't necessarily agree with it, but yeah, that's a
Yeah. So we'll leave it like that.
good, great movie.
Yeah. For next we have Forrest Gump.
Cool, good, fantastic film. Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not on my top 10, but I also like, I think I have a darker sensibility of like content that I like, like, so I would probably even put, if I had a top 10, there'd probably be a horror or two that would make my list too. But,
Yeah.
um, Forrest Gump is a phenomenal film. It's Spielberg at his finest, Tom
Yeah.
Hanks at his finest. Uh, I remember actually going back to The Fellowship. I saw that. I was at Disneyland when I was young, and I forget I had the afternoon to myself, so I just went to a movie by myself.
Okay.
And I was a little bit late for walking in, and as I was like walking in, it was like the orcs in Fellowship, like they were like, there was the big war going on during like the opening monologue.
Hmm.
And I just remember like walking in, and I think I was in like grade 9 or something, and I was terrified because it was so intense. Like those orcs really felt scary. And once again, that's what I love. Like the way that they do that with Joker and the Dark Knight, the
Hmm.
way that the orcs in that Fellowship just they feel dangerous, and
Yeah.
it's hard to do that nowadays. To actually, and I just remember like just getting pretty anxious, even just every time they were on screen. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
masterful.
Do you think that would be because, for example, nowadays they will rely more on CGI, and back then it was more on the
Yeah.
human side, let's say, somehow. You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah, because that was probably at the pinnacle of our use of prosthetics and
Yeah.
what we could do there. And now it is going more to just like having the actors with little dots on their head and then figuring it out, which I'm sure will get seamless in no time. But yeah, it probably does have a lot to do with practical, because they felt real, like those orcs. They felt like it felt visceral,
Yeah.
looking at them.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
and also what I love about, like the whole franchise is on the second one when Gollum appears, which was played by Andy Serkis, was the one.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he does. I mean, I do consider like he's like the best actor in motion capture ever. You know,
Yeah,
like
100%, 100%.
yeah, I mean like the way yeah the way he did for Gollum or for Planet of the Apes. He also appeared that one too,
Yeah.
and I mean yeah, he's incredible.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah, the guy's a genius. And
Yeah.
it's cool to see. I think he's directing now. He directed a movie. He's doing a lot more. He played Alfred and the Batman. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
he's doing
Mm-hmm.
a lot more not CGI
Stuff.
characters. But he's a phenomenal actor. Oh, he's also in Black Panther. Great role. He's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. But yeah.
He's
Yeah, I would
he's
definitely
awesome.
saying that yeah, that Andy Serkis is like the godfather of motion capture.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I
Oh, for
mean?
sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's
Definitely.
incredible.
Now, for the next one, Fight Club. What do you think about that one?
Oh, is that 11 or 10?
Uh, or no, wait. So right now, I mean, since we removed Angry Man because we haven't watched it, so
Okay.
it's off the list.
Cool.
Then, so at the moment we are at Sheshang be the one, The Godfather the second, third Dark Knight,
Yeah.
fourth The Godfather Part Two, fifth The Lord of the Rings, like the whole
Yeah.
trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Six would be The Schindler List. Seven would be Pulp Fiction. Nine, sorry, eight. No, wait, eight. Sorry, eight would be Forrest Gump, and nine would be Fight Club, and yeah.
Okay.
So that's how we are right
Fight
now.
Club, I love. I think Fight Club is incredible. It's one of my favorite movies. It's probably on my top 10. I love it. I love Edward Norton and Brad Pitt in it. Hella Bonham Carter
Yep.
also steals the show. Uh, yeah, the acting, the premise, the overall message about
Mm.
just like consumer culture, and it's just such a punk rock hardcore movie, and it almost surprises me to this day that it was like released by a big studio, and and I remember actually hearing about this, but they didn't market it properly. I don't think it did that well in the box office initially because they kind of marketed it as just bros fighting movie, like
Yeah.
Fight Club, boom boom, and just Brad Pitt with his shirt off. So a lot of people just went to the movie having no idea what it was, and they were. I think when you go into that movie expecting some sort of just action fight movie, you
Mm-hmm.
might have been let down. But like whatever point I saw it in my life, I was blown away by it. I was like, this is some next level like just punk rock filmmaking. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that film. Yeah, I heard that too. That wasn't that good at the box office, but
Mhm.
later on became big. Like
Oh yeah.
and it became basically like an icon. So.
Yeah, it was bought, and that happens sometimes to really great movies where the marketing companies just fail it
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. They just don't understand the film, and they're not able to like connect it to people. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, like for the one they did for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory back in 1971.
mhm.
I heard that film when it was released wasn't that big much of a deal, but later on it became big.
That it's cool when that happens where films find their
Their
life
spot,
in
right?
on,
Yeah.
and it happened a lot more back in the day when DVD was a thing, when people
Yeah.
go to rent,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden they'd be like, oh, this is a big hit on DVD because that I worked at a video store during that time, and I would remember some movies that I barely even heard of in theaters all of a sudden were renting out like crazy because word of mouth and and that kind of thing. So it was cool. It was like a second shot at at box office essentially back in the day with DVD rentals.
Those were the days. I love them. That back then the whole DVD place became like a social place to meet with friends. That's
Oh
how you
yeah.
will hang out with friends and be like, what's new? And And also, I remember when it was with a VHS, and they were saying "Be kind and rewind," something like that.
Oh yeah,
Remember?
yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, and like going there and to hurry up to deliver it at time, otherwise they're gonna charge you like a fee on that. Yeah, that was those were cool days.
Oh, I remember late fees were a funny one because people would come in and I'd be like, "Sir, you have $50 of late charges or
Yeah.
whatever." And I think that the stores made a lot of money off late charges, so they didn't want you to waive them too often. But I think if people were nice, I would like waive them or whatever. It's like you had the power. But I
Yeah.
did have to rewind tapes. We had like tape rewinders, for there was a little bit of VHS left when I was working there, not a lot,
Hmm.
but you had to rewind them and you know
That was cool,
Crazy.
right?
Oh yeah, it was like the best job ever. I'd probably still like work part-time at a video store if they
Yeah.
were like if they were around, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, different time, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. The other day, one of my little cousins found the old VHS box that my mom has, and he was
Yeah.
wondering like, what is that? And I was just start laughing like different times, you know,
Dude, I had
different
so
times.
many. I wish I didn't give away, but I had so many VHS. Like I had just a massive collection. I just decided to give away. I think I was like trying to be minimalist or something, but I had so many VHS, and that was like that got me through my teen years. I just watched so many movies, like
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction was one of them. Yeah, exciting times.
And you know,
Oh, Fight
it's
Club for sure.
yeah, and you know, it sucks when you find out that that type of that like the VHS tapes and things like that become somehow in memorabilia, and suddenly you find out that they
Uh,
are that there's some people who actually will buy those at a crazy
yeah,
price, and you're like, ah, crap, why you
I
know like
know.
why you know the other day that like something like that happened, and I was just like, why the hell I just didn't sell it instead of just giving away back then, you know?
You can't
Yeah.
beat yourself up over it too much, but you're right. There's I think I had some that haven't even been released on DVD yet. So it's like some of them would probably be worth quite a lot because
Yeah.
you know, especially those old Disney ones I think are crazy. The Diamond collection that they have, like those sell for crazy amounts of money now. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now for next one, we have Inception. What do you think about that one?
personally, that's top. Like I guess that's top 11 then if we're discounting Angry Men or whatever. Personally,
Yeah.
it's a good movie. I love Christopher Nolan. Respect the hell out of him as a filmmaker. Me personally, I don't love that movie. Um, I wouldn't put it on my top 10. I like the ideas of it and obviously the visual storytelling and everything, but my only kind of what I didn't love about it was like in Act Three, it just became some generic action movie, with the snow hill and they're just going down. Remember, they're just kind of like um, skiing down this hill and there's all this stuff going on, and I it just kind of lost me in the third act. Um, it just felt like kind of I don't know. And once again, this is like the guy's a master. I'm not
Yeah.
critiquing Christopher Nolan, but for me as an overall film, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I wouldn't put it on my top 10.
Yeah, I mean it's a good yeah, it's a cool film,
Yeah.
but yeah, the same thing here for me. I mean it didn't yeah, I mean it was a good one, but I wouldn't be like to put it like on top and also top on like my personal top. No, no, not at all.
Yeah, not mine, but I do get why people like it. It's a cool concept. It's a cool concept.
Yeah, yeah. So the next one here, we got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. What do you think?
Oh, loved it. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite superhero movies ever. It's incredible.
Yep.
I didn't really expect, being a cartoon, like I'm not really a huge cartoon fan. Like I like animation, but I don't it's not like something that I personally go out of my way to watch. So that when I knew it was a cartoon, I probably just, oh, okay, some, kids movie, but like I was like legitimately engaged and I loved every second of that movie. I haven't seen the second one yet, but I will.
Hmm.
Um, Loved it. Would I put it on my top 10? It probably wouldn't make my top 10, but it's probably in my top like five superhero movies for sure.
Yeah.
It's great film.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it like the thing with animated, for example, I do enjoy the animated ones from DC, for example. They really
Mm,
create really cool stuff. Um, but yeah, yeah, definitely this one. Yeah, I could put it too.
yeah. It'd probably make my top five animated films too of all time
Yeah.
if I was to put that in a category. But overall film, not for me, but it's
Hmm.
great. Great
Hmm.
film.
So, couple of more here. Next one, we got Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
Agreed. That should be on the list. Yeah, that's a great movie. And once again, it's the whole sequel thing, right? Like it's dark. It's like
Yeah.
the middle those middle films in the trilogy: Two Towers, Empire Strikes Back, Godfather Part Two.
Hmm.
There's
Hmm.
something about like a good. I love it. Like it's like that.
Yeah.
That almost excites me to make a trilogy one day more than anything else. Is like just that middle movie and like how dark you can get with it and take your characters through the darkness and then end on a cliffhanger. you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, like what a like think about back in the day how crazy that would have been to see in a theater, you know? Like that was groundbreaking, and I couldn't even imagine like once you find out that Darth Vader's his father, he like chops his hand off. He's like, he's literally like it's such a crazy ending for a big studio film, and it's such a big gamble,
hmm
but they pulled it off. And Han Solo gets frozen in carbonite, like everyone's favorite character gets
yeah.
frozen. Like you're like, holy shit! But genius marketing too, because they knew everyone was gonna have to watch the third one because they were just like they left so many things untied.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, that one was. I heard. I saw an interview the other day about that Mark Hamill uh did knew about the whole Vader being his father, but the rest of the
Mhm.
cast didn't. So that was like a huge thing when everybody knew, we're like, what? Like super excited. Uh, but yeah, that film was, yeah, and back in his day, it was like the cutting edge film. Technology and everything
Oh yeah,
was top notch. So yeah.
yeah. The Hoth scenes. I mean, it really felt like another world. And then introducing Yoda, um, it it's a masterpiece. It's a
Yeah.
masterpiece. It's probably on my top 10 movies.
Yeah.
Just
What do you think about the prequels?
personally, didn't love them. Didn't love
Hmm.
them. I think when they came out, I was like a little, you get to that stage where you're like an older teenager and you're looking for. I think they made a mistake. I think they should have gone darker with the prequels as opposed to lighter. You know what I mean? They kind of made kids movies
Yeah. I mean, the
for
last one.
people. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the last one was a little dark. You're right. Episode
Yeah.
3,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
that
it
one.
just felt.
That one.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I just felt like they and I love the Darth Maul fight with Duel of the Fates to this day is still incredible. Like that fight was worth seeing episode 1. I remember seeing it in theaters and be like, yeah, this was awesome. But then like you watch it again. I got it on DVD and I was like, I don't know. It just like they're good. And with the new one the Disney made, that you have a whole new appreciation, for them. But they're good, but I don't know. There's something, if anything, I almost feel like I wish they had made them for the people that grew up with Star Wars as opposed to a new generation of kids.
Mm.
They made a whole bunch of new Star Wars fans out of them, but um, I don't know. I- they're still like they still have a soft spot in my heart, and the third one does end pretty brutally.
Yeah, yeah. The end one is pretty good. The second one I did enjoy it, but mostly on the ending when the clones appear, and I was like, "That's so cool!" When all of the clones, the whole clone army appears, and then later on they released like the whole Clone Wars on Cartoon Network back then, and
Hmm.
yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, in terms of the prequels, yeah, definitely the best one will have to be the third one by far, The Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad what happened to Jar Jar Binks. The guy who played him got like totally just destroyed and hated, and then basically cut out of the 2 and 3. And the kid that played Anakin was like literally bullied, like like terribly, just for getting cast.
Yeah.
Um, and Hayden Christensen, I think I loved him. I know he got a lot of shade for acting or whatever, but I thought he
Hmm.
was a great actor and a great choice to play Anakin. And I remember when he first got cast, another indie movie came out called Life as a House that he was in.
Hmm.
He plays this like angsty, like, have you seen that, Life as a House?
No, I
It's
haven't seen
it's
that.
really good. It's a really good film. It's with him and Calvin Klein, and his father basically brings out his just troubled son.
Okay.
He's an estranged father. He brings out his troubled son to build a house for the summer. It's really powerful, really good movie. And you kind of see. I remember that being a big kind of part of me wanting to be an actor almost at the time because I was around his age. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's getting cast in Star Wars, and then he was really good in that Life as a House movie. So I love him as an actor, and I hope it's cool to see him back in the spotlight, and I want to see what else he does in his career because I think he's got a lot of he's got a lot more in him. I think
Yeah, and
I like him.
also he came back again as Vader in the Obi-Wan series, and I
Yeah,
think he's gonna appear again as Vader in the Ahsoka series, which is coming soon.
that's
And
cool.
yeah, that's pretty cool. And the fact that yeah, I mean, yeah, as I said, I mean, those films, yeah, the last one was definitely the best, and then to see him back as Vader in the Obi-Wan stuff, I was like, that's so cool. At least for a short while every now and then, but I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I want to see him do other characters. I feel like we're gonna get
Yeah,
surprised. We're gonna get surprised by him probably in the next 10 years. I think he's gonna pull out like some crazy, I think just Heath Ledger style performance, and I see a great actor in him. I always
yeah,
have.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe he will come back as, for example, Brendan Fraser. He was away for what,
Mm,
10 years, something like that, and then he comes back, makes a film, wins an Oscar. That's it.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I could see that happening with him, honestly, and he seems like such a nice guy too
Yeah, he is
in
really
his
cool.
interviews. So,
hmm hmm
yeah.
hmm Now for the last one here, we got The Matrix.
Oh yeah, now you're speaking my language. I love that movie. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah,
Probably in my top five. Just the philosophy behind it.
yeah, of course, of
Um,
course.
it's so good. It's so good. And the action, it was groundbreaking. I saw that in theaters too. I remember going to see that in theaters, and I left a changed man. That was like, I
Yeah,
was like,
the whole like bullet time scene. I think was the
oh
first time they were actually putting
yeah,
a lot of CGI on it.
oh yeah.
It was new. It was something fresh.
The fight scenes were incredible in the first Matrix, and then they went way too CGI heavy in the sequels, right? Remember, like it was like watching a video game in the sequels, and it got really
Yeah,
weird.
the second one I didn't quite like it, but
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
enjoy the last one. When they are making like
yeah,
the whole fight with the machines and the big robot with the machine guns and
yeah.
they're shooting. I mean,
Oh yeah,
that was like
yeah,
super cool. But yeah, the
yeah.
first one has like a spot to it.
I like the trilogy, but I like it, and I even enjoyed the second one when I was younger. I was like, oh, this is cool, badass action. Like that's all I needed at the time.
Yeah.
But watching it now, you're like, oh wow, they got away with some pretty shady CGI, shady
Yeah.
CGI. But the first one is a masterpiece. The Wachowski brothers also, I think they wrote V for Vendetta too, which is another just masterpiece film
Yeah, that
with.
was a really good one too. I did watch it later on, way
Yeah.
later, but yeah, it was a really good one.
Yeah, I think there's a common misconception that they directed that. They didn't. It's the first assistant director of The Matrix directed V for
Even
Vendetta.
Vendetta. Okay.
But overall, it's their movie. I think they wrote the screenplay for it. And what they did with The Matrix, I mean, that movie is 100% a classic. It's on my top 10 list. It's the action, the grittiness, like the difference between the Matrix world and the
And the
casting of
real
Keanu
world.
Reeves was
Yeah.
that I if it wasn't for the Matrix, we probably wouldn't have John Wick. We wouldn't have this like resurgence of Keanu, right? But he was so good as Neo, like this kind of like just they just cast perfectly for him because he kind of had a little bit of like he felt just the looks that he has, he was just the perfect guy. And originally they offered Will Smith the role. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did hear that one, but he went for Wild West instead of
Oh
going for the
man,
Matrix.
because he read the script and was I don't get it or whatever. But
Yeah.
he also is on record. He said that he would have messed up that movie because he would have played him like Will Smith at the time had a lot of ego and he had a lot of like charisma and swagger.
Yeah.
But what Keanu did so well was he was so minimal. Like he played it so perfectly. Like it, um, yeah, something almost, I guess to go with the trilogy, something almost like godlike about him because he's so unmovable
Yeah,
and,
motionless.
and just yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
emotionally. And I think he got called out a little bit at the time for cardboard performance or whatever. But I think they just cast the right guy at the right time for that role because it was it was perfect. It was exactly what that character needed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that film is the whole bank scene, when they are like shooting the guards, and having like multiple guns everywhere. He basically is taking a gun everywhere, boots, like all of that
Yeah.
behind his coat. I mean, that was definitely I remember watching that on theaters too, and I was just like like yeah, excited about it. I was like, this is really cool, this is pretty
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
Did you watch the fourth one?
Don't get me there, man. Don't get me. Yeah, don't get me. Don't take me there. I mean, I did watch it, but oh man, So here's the thing. I would have prefer if they say that it's in the Matrix universe. That's cool.
Yeah.
Don't bring Neo. Don't bring Trinity. Don't bring anything of that back. Let's say they're
Yeah.
dead. Cool. Okay, but it's in the universe. that would perhaps been different for me. I'd be like, okay, so they're trying to explore the universe. Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, it felt bad for me. I didn't watch it in films. I watched it on HBO later on, and yeah, I was just dragging myself to watch it because I can't watch this anymore.
I know, man. I know. And the trailer got me so hyped for it too. I remember like the trailer was like it felt so like Matrixy, and it was like if you
Yeah,
go chasing rabbits, and then like
yeah,
I was so hyped, but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
what can you do?
yeah. That's the
Can't.
thing. That's the thing here. I mean, and I remember like the trailer was super cool, but I was expecting, like to see old Neo stuff, gun actions, John Wick. I was like, okay. I mean, this
Yeah,
guy did John Wick. I mean, what can we expect on this one? Come on. And
yeah.
then no, there's no guns. And basically, at some point, Neo becomes like a background character, and I'm like, what the hell's
Mhm.
wrong? Like what the hell's going
Yeah,
on? Yeah, it
yeah.
was. I was just not the right. I mean, perhaps some people like it, and that's their taste, fine. But at least to me, no, it hit super wrong. I was like, why they did that? Why?
Did you ever watch? It came out with the Matrix. It was when I was working at the video store. I remember there was another DVD that came out with the Matrix called Animatrix. Have you seen that?
Oh, I did watch that one, and that was the other day I saw on Netflix. What was it called? They did an animated version for the video game called Cyberpunk. I
Hmm.
don't know. So I think it was Edge Runner, something like that. But anyway, my point here is that the Edge Runner show, based on like the whole Cyberpunk, basically got me remind me a little bit of the Animatrix they released before. I don't know if they were like the
Cool.
same people, but they were. Yeah, I did watch even the anime was pretty cool. I mean, if they have done got like something like that for the new one, I would have been
Yeah.
totally fine with it. Be like, yes, let's do it. For as for the whole chaos they ended up creating, and yeah, it just felt bad because I was like, this franchise was like on their glory, and basically
Yeah.
they let it die in the most horrific way possible, at least to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, there's something. I don't. It might just be catching lightning in a bottle or something. But whatever happened with that first one was just perfect. So it
Yes.
was almost hard to follow up. It's almost like you make this like, you know, you make this total masterpiece, and then they say, oh, we want sequels for it. So they're thinking like, how do we one up this, and it just got really convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Going with the basic idea of like you've got the Matrix and then you've got this like real world, like just kind of going with that.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot to explore. And if any movies, like I know reboots are a thing nowadays, it would be really cool actually, I think, to see what they could do if they could kind of restart the Matrix franchise,
Yeah.
in the sense of maybe, I don't know, it would just be really cool to see what they could do, especially with today's effects and
Yeah, it would
um
be it would be crazy if you do that. I would be definitely be interested in that. But as I said, I mean, if they're gonna be releasing like a new I mean, I don't think they're gonna be that bold to release another Matrix film. I don't think. I mean,
they will eventually.
crap.
Probably, maybe not in our life. Well, probably in our lifetime, but they will. I mean, it's still a
They have
property
to.
that I think
Yeah.
holds to this day. It's so like they teach courses on it in universities. Like it's
Really?
yeah, there's like
Okay.
philosophy courses on the Matrix and this and the like almost like it's a religion in the sense because it spawned like a whole cultural movement.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
red pill, blue pill. Like there's all these constant uses of it even today, in so many different forms. So it's yeah, it's that movie was groundbreaking.
Yeah, that was incredible, and also like for example, another thing that yeah, like for example with the whole John Wick films. The
Hmm.
first one is incredible. I loved it. Definitely the best for me. And but then I hate when studios are like, "Oh, this film made a lot of money. Let's stretch as much as we can and make a
Yeah,
sequel, trilogy, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't care. Let's stretch as much." Because at some point, at least to me, I mean, it loses like their essence. I mean, don't
yeah,
don't get me wrong. John Wick films are incredible action films,
I
sure.
love those. Yeah, it's action.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean there is basically a lot of gun fu basically, which is super
yeah,
cool. That's why
totally.
we want to do. But in terms of the whole like backstory, like all of that, the first one got was like the yeah, it was special because you can totally see that they were not thinking about making like a saga out of it. You know, they were totally making like we're
Mm.
gonna make a film, just one, see what happens, and you can
Mm.
totally see that, and that's why at least to me it was really cool the fact that so we got this guy that he retires, but turns out that he was like the boogeyman, and some idiot kid ended up stealing his car and killing his dog, and then he went on this rampage. I was like, that's so cool. You know, that's totally relatable.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
dude, story structure wise too, I'm a script nerd. And one of the common things, in Save the Cat or whatever, it says you've got the character gets called to action at a certain point in the script, and then they have to. There's the debate section where they say no, and it's that whole thing where they're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this or whatever, and it's so amazingly clear that the writers were just like having fun with that because they basically are like, John, I need you to do this, and he's like, no. And then like the scene later, he just blows up his house with like a rocket launcher, and then he's like, Okay." It's like
yeah,
it was just it's just so amazingly it's formulaic, but like
yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So simple.
Yeah, that was
Um,
hilarious. Now that you mentioned that, like, okay, cool,
yeah, but he
boom,
just changes like like in a
I blew up
second.
your house, and then, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, yeah,
Like it's but they're just I think having fun. They're poking fun at Hollywood structure too.
yeah,
um
yeah, that's true. I
did you
mean,
s-
that,
did you yeah.
huh? You were gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, did you see Barbie yet?
Oh man, I haven't.
No.
I'm dying to watch it, but I haven't. What
but
about you? Did you watch
but
it?
I just remembered to just go back to the Matrix, but how relevant that movie is to today. They have a Matrix joke in Barbie, which is like, if you think about it, like what Matrix came out like 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and there's like a joke where all of a sudden everybody laughs in the audience. I was in a full theater, and she gets like kind of a spoiler, but not really, so don't worry. But she like holds up like Kate McKinnon's character holds up like a heel and a Birkenstock, and it's like, if you can choose the heel and you'll live in dream world,
Okay,
or
totally.
or a,
Okay,
or a
okay.
Birkenstock. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. Like, but the fact that that is still being referenced in a $1 billion movie is like a testament to how timeless I think Matrix is, and like how it's seeped into our culture.
Yeah, it
Like
became an
like
icon.
like so many other, like, it's so hard to do that as a film to become. And remember, it was like, even for the last 10 years after, there was so many parodies of it, and the bullet time parody,
Mm-hmm,
scary movie,
mm-hmm.
like, yeah, the
Yeah,
Matrix was a.
it's incredible when they managed to do that. Like also, for example, with the whole for example, with the Back to the Future trilogy. I mean, it's incredible that even till this day, there's people watching it for the first time, and that film still is relevant. It still is an icon. You know,
Yeah.
I do think that when you manage to create such a film that will basically stay forever. You know, I'm super sure that in 50, 60, 70 years, there's gonna be people talking about the Matrix, the Back to the Future, like those type of films because they actually, I mean, I would say that they mark, yeah, they became culture. They became an icon to it. So it's amazing when they do that.
Definitely.
Yeah, that would be cool to see what people think about the Matrix in the Matrix 4 in 50 years. I want to I want to know, you know.
I think we'll probably be living in some sort of computer at that point. So I think
Right?
like it'll basically just be reality. Like everyone's gonna be in their little virtual reality like headsets, just not leaving their house, living in their pods. You know, they'll,
It's
they'll, and
crazy
then
that, right?
and then there'll be a few people in the real world, like in the gritty real world, like trying to just do their thing, who don't want to
Yeah.
just become one with the machine.
I mean, maybe we are going like a little bit out of topic, but it's incredible how the whole AI virtual stuff is going like super fast. You know, the other day I was just like just checking around AIs and things like that. And it's just incredible. Like I was just in shock, like how fast they have worked on that, you know? I mean, because back then you will see it in films and you were like, come on, that was fun. But now the fact that you can, for example, with for like ChatGPT and other AI stuff like that it is around, it's scary to see how they are like how fast they're working on, and with the whole virtual reality that I'm super sure that at some point it's gonna be, as you mentioned, that everyone is gonna be living in pods and the real world is gonna be like all in ruins, or like something like that, and then things like that, because it's scary how fast. I mean, if you think about like how technology has advanced in the last 10 years, it's
Mhm.
mind blowing. It's crazy.
Yeah, and my concern, and it feels like the way we're going is, yeah, people will want to be in those worlds because those worlds are going to be so much more. I mean, we're already kind of seeing it with video games and
Yeah.
even social media, like the fact that a lot of us are just so consumed by social media, spending 2 3 hours a day on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What about when our, like, we are literally living in, like, it's so real that you could do whatever you want. You have as much money as you just, you know, you're just literally like living in a real life GTA, just running around, just doing whatever you please.
Yeah.
Or then you come back to the real world, and like you said, if you know, it's just going to be so enticing to people to be in that. I think is the scariest part. It's not going to be forced upon anybody. It's going to be what they're going to want to do it.
Yeah, yeah, and also it scares me the fact that that at some point they will try to use AI to do human stuff. You know,
Mm,
that is one of the things that kind of, I mean, I know that that is difficult to happen because at the end of the day, when you need the human touch to it, and I do think that there's no machine would ever be able to actually create something with the human touch. I mean, not at this point at least.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little bit. I was like a little bit like worried, like thinking about like what if like at some point, because it might happen that, for example, certain jobs will be switching off for AI now and leaving people like without a job, things like like things like that. That at some point, I'm super sure that's gonna happen. That's inevitable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, it's scary. You know what I mean?
I think about this a lot, and you know, I was even talking to an actor friend the other day about Neuralink, right? There's that thing Neuralink that's like a chip in the brain, and then we're talking
Yeah.
about
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Google Brain and all this stuff that's starting to come out where people are able to access information immediately with their brain. So, you know, the obvious path to this is it's going to be like, you know, say you and I are going out for a role together, you know, and you have Google Brain and I don't have Google Brain, and say it's like a big TV series that, you know, you have to memorize like 20 pages of text and just spread it off in a day, and they give it to you the day before, and here I am just sweating trying to like learn it all, and you're just like, you just ding, you input it, you know it all, and you're just able to, you know, brilliant, like it's just there for you just to pull from as you're like auditioning, you know what I mean? So like
Mm-hmm.
eventually it's not necessarily that like it's the competition that's going to put people on, because if you don't have this thing, you're not going to be competitive in certain industries anymore, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it'll probably become a requirement from some positions. It's like, you know, must have Google Brain or,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever
Three
to
years of experience, something like that. Yeah,
3 years
yeah.
of experience plus Google Brain.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's gonna be crazy. And also like imagine what I think when that happens, there will be no language barrier anymore. You
Oh,
know?
not at all.
Not at all. I mean that
We're
would
almost at the point where it's gone with the use of my phone. I can just speak English into it, and then it will just say back in whatever language I
yeah, in
want,
whatever language you
whatever
want.
I
Yeah, yeah,
say.
yeah. But yeah,
Did
I do. Hmm?
have you there's this great, what is it called, Captions? It's an app called Captions, and you can record yourself, so it's crazy. I'll record myself saying a video. I'm like, hey, I'm here with Chat with Dan. You know, make sure you watch it. It's gonna be awesome. Boom. And before I export, I just say turn to Japanese, and then it literally takes my voice
And switching to
and makes me
Japanese.
speak
Yeah, I
Japanese,
saw that. Yeah,
and
I saw that.
then I export the video, and whatever, I send it to Japan, and it's fucking nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy when that happens. I mean, and I'm super sure that it's gonna happen anytime soon.
oh,
And
dude,
yeah, I mean, when that happens, there will be no longer barrier. Yeah, there will be no language barrier anymore. And I think at that moment, it's when
yeah.
like countries like Japan, China, like that that they really have a difficult language. It's gonna be like a lot easier for everyone to know about things like that. But it's true what you mentioned too, that it's gonna make the competition. I mean, if right now it's super hard, it's gonna be like way too hard. And to be honest, to if I don't know if at some point they will be telling me like we can put you that chip in your brain. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just old school, but I don't know, man. Well, I mean, I will have like this debate in my head, like, do I really want a piece of something that is not my body to be inside of my brain? I
Yeah.
mean, what if that thing stop? What if the thing has has like a whole malfunction? And then I go crazy. Things like that. Which there's this video game called Cyberpunk that they touch on that subject, when you have like a cybercosis and then you get all crazy. And
Hmm.
I don't know, like if like whenever that happens, the other day I was checking that there are some countries that they will put you like a chip here on your wrist, and you
Oh
can
yeah.
actually pay stuff now.
Yep.
That is
Yep.
linked to your
People are volunteering for that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I was just like, do I really want? I mean, what is going to happen now that people are going to when they want to rob you, they're gonna chop off your hand now, or
Oh God.
like what is it
Yeah.
gonna happen now? I mean, as I said, I mean, technology is it's amazing, it's great, but I just think that at some point should stop and be like, okay, what are we doing right now? Because it is, yeah, at least to me, like, could you believe? I mean, I can understand for a medical standpoint. For example, if you had an accident and then unfortunately they had to remove your arm, but they can put you like a prosthetic one, like a whole
Yep.
robo one. You can be moving again like normally. That's beautiful. That's perfect. But to actually put like implants, or like things like that to to either to live longer or to have like more stuff. I don't know, man. I'm just like a little bit, .
I hear you. I do. I think about this a lot because I feel like it's the future that we're plummeting towards. I was watching documentaries about it 10 years ago plus, like about transhumanism and like these
Yeah,
like the push to kind of meld with machine, and that's how humans are gonna, like a lot of wealthy people, that's how they want to like live and extend their life to like 200, 300 years, just like kind of being able to meld. And my question is, like, at what point aren't you human anymore? And I think that's a very fair question because I have friends with prosthetics. I have friend, if I'm sure there's people out there with pacemakers, like I'd still consider them human, right? Like just because you've got some sort of device that's like
yeah,
helping you serve, like you're still human, right?
yeah.
So but my big question and my big philosophical kind of um query, I guess, is like, yeah, at what point aren't you human anymore? Like you can have full bionic arms and legs and you're still human. You can have a pacemaker, you're still human. Once you start dealing with the brain and putting things in your brain,
Yeah,
that's where that's
that's
where I feel like
scary.
we're becoming something else. Like we're not quite human anymore once you're, it's like it's a new species almost.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, imagine that at some point you can have surgery in your eyes, and they will put some bionic eyes now, and then so you can have like a bunch of zoom.
Oh
You will
yeah,
watch things everywhere. But they will have to remove your original eyes to put those eyes like those bionic stuff to you. Yeah, I
dude,
mean, it's
crazy
crazy.
times. And you want to become a professional archer, so
Yeah, yeah, you can be a
like,
sniper. You can shot
oh yeah,
somewhere like around, I don't know, 200 meters without like a sight or anything, just by watching it. Be like, okay, I got it. Things like that.
that
That's
that's where
crazy.
it gets scary to me. It's not, on the surface, I think most people are going to say, no, I don't want that thing in my head. But once the competition aspect comes in and you can't get a job without it, that's when it's going to become, I think, a a real thing where people are going to be like, well, why not? Why
Yeah. Did
not?
you did you ever watch this film? I mean, it's an old one with Jude Law that that basically on that film they were having this type of a world that people will have like prosthetics and things like that. And if you can pay them, they will call the repo man
Oh
who
yeah,
will,
yeah.
it's an old one, but I remember that one
It's a great film.
it's an incredible one. But now that you think of it, I mean, at some point that's gonna happen too. That the repo man is gonna come for your prosthetics if you don't like pay
Yeah.
stuff and things like that. It's crazy.
I think I actually read an article that was almost like about that, where this woman got a transplant or something. And don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that that has like happened in the States at some point, where like she got this huge loan for it and they wanted it back. Like, I forget exactly what happened, but
Yeah.
we are getting to that point where there's actually, before that Jude Law movie came out, there was a musical which I think you'd like. It's called Repo at the Genetic Opera. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Have
No,
you
I
seen-
haven't.
Oh, you'd like it. It's Anthony Head, who played Giles and Buffy.
Hmm.
He plays the Repo Man, but it's a musical about this guy who goes around and takes back organs for this corporation. It's really good.
All right.
It's like a horror musical. But yeah, that's a scary thought. It's a really scary thought. But we're so close to that. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, at the end, hopefully, when that comes, I mean, I don't know. I mean, when that happens, we'll see. But at the moment, it's scary to find. It's scary to kind of. I mean, the more. I mean, we could be chatting about hours about this topic because yeah, and we can go even darker. About that.
I
About
like
like.
this stuff. I
So
like
how,
this kind of stuff, though. I think this is I think a lot of actors and artists like love talking about this kind of thing because it's um it's just interesting, you know? Like we could talk
Mm.
about movies all day long, but it's like, at the end of the day, how are the top 10 movies going to affect the future generations? And are we gonna,
Yeah, no,
but
no,
but
no.
but talking about like these kind of real ideas, and it gets your even stuff you've been saying today gets your creative juices flowing. Oh my God, like the idea of stealing someone's wallet by chopping off their arm in
Yeah,
some
imagine
horrific
that.
future. Like
Yeah, instead of
like
here's my wallet. No, give me your hand. No, you're
yeah.
kidding me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's actually like that's right around the corner, So
Yeah,
I like talking about these kind of things because they're fascinating, A, and B, they're like relevant. Like AI is such a topic of conversation right now because like with the strikes, as I'm sure you've talked to actors
yeah.
about,
Hmm.
it's like I don't know how this is gonna go. It's crazy. The technology's out of the bag. The cat's out of the bag. I don't even know how do you even push it back in at this point. Um, I don't have the answers, but
Yeah.
it's interesting to talk about.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, as we were saying, like the whole, for example, with the whole ChatGPT, I mean, you can get anything in just a quick seconds, the other day I was just playing with ChatGPT and be like, okay, I want to see, make me a script about a film regarding a police officer. One like 2 minutes, 2 minutes later, poof, I already have like a script, and I was like, that is crazy. That was like, okay. But
Yeah.
the thing that I was thinking of is like, okay, I mean, yeah, technology is doing that right now for sure. But as I was saying before, I do think that it's not. I mean, regardless of how incredible the script an AI might put, it's not gonna be the same one as a regular human, doing it like the old way, things like that. I mean, at the end of the day, we want stories that we can relate somehow, and I do think that an AI, no matter how advanced can be at some point, will never be able like to replicate that. You know what I mean?
I'd like to think that. I think that I'm a little bit more concerned in the sense of I feel like there's the potential
Yeah.
if these things are as smart as they seem to be and they're learning like a million times, they're just learning so quickly. Storytelling is essentially about moving people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Taking them on a
Mm-hmm.
journey. Once they understand human emotions and like how to take people on an emotional journey,
Yeah.
um I'm worried that it like they're all gonna some of them are gonna do it much better than like
You think?
humans. In the sense of look at like influencers, right? Like they
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of influencers get a ton of views, this that. Now there's new things cropping up. It's like fake digital influencers. I don't know if you've seen these
Yeah. Yeah.
people,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah. I saw an article about
you
it the other day.
they're almost really hard to even tell if they're real or not.
Yeah.
And eventually once they start to learn, like there's a strategy to social media, and there's like hooks that you can give, and there's ways you can keep people's attention and all this stuff. So like once it's able to kind of figure out exactly how to keep people's attention with the video and the exact look and emotion and this and this and this, I'm because things have moved so quickly so far,
Mm.
it feels like to me, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I would, I would love to keep doing this career for the rest of my life and not
Yeah.
have to compete with computers and like fake people.
Yeah.
But,
Totally.
but I mean, I'm kind of seeing the writing on the wall in the sense of like, because these things are learning so quick, it's like I think they're going to be able to manipulate humans in the sense of a not even letting them know they're real,
Mm.
and b like figuring out the exact looks and mannerisms and vocal tone to just to
Yeah.
just totally move people and take them on journeys. I think eventually, I don't know if it'll be in the next 20 years or so, but the way things are going so quickly, it's like eventually I feel like they are going to be able to just um to create some pretty powerful art from what I've seen so far. And
Yeah.
and I,
That's
and
true.
I understand why there's such a concern right now with the unions, just to be like, all right, we got to figure this shit out, because I think
Yeah.
they see where it's going too, you know?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, it's as I was saying before, it's a shame that big studios companies are doing that, in order to save more money, you know. I mean, I hate when they do that because the other day I was talking about like, okay, what if in my other job that I have, the one that pays bills, what if at some point they do that too? What if one
Mhm.
day they're like, you know what, we're not gonna use you anymore. We're gonna hire this AI who's gonna basically do everything everything plus plus like much like a lot more amount than what you usually do, like plus more.
Yeah,
So you're fired. Good for you. Good luck and things like that. I mean, that is a thing that also people should be like more aware about that. That the thing that is happening right now with the actors is like the tip of the iceberg of a whole lot of shitstorm that could happen to the rest of to the rest of us. Right now it's with the entertainment, but in a couple of years might be other sectors, and then at some point we might not even need doctors anymore because an AI and like the whole technology will be able to do things like that, and yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and yeah, I totally understand because I would be exactly the same thing, super angry about the fact that my job is yeah, it's in danger because of an AI, because of X or Y studio. Instead of actually being fair of it, they want to save much money they can, but
yeah.
like a lot they can in order to just being fair. You know what I mean? So
It's wild. And the
it's wild.
craziest thing about all this is, you know, I think back, like you can even look back to when the tractor was invented. There was a big uproar. Like farmers were like, "You're going to take us all to work," because at that time, I think there was like 80%
Totally.
of jobs were farming. So when the tractor came out, people were angry. You know what I mean? Where I see this happening in other industries is like the self checkout. Do you have self checkouts where you are? Because all over the place in Toronto here,
Hmm.
there are self checkouts. And initially, I was like very hesitant to use the self checkouts because I'm like, I want to deal with a person. I want to deal with a person. But then these places started staffing so low that like there'd be these huge lineups at the person, and then there'd be like 5 empty self checkouts. So they were starting to slowly push people to use the self checkouts because if you
Yeah.
want to get out of there in like 10 minutes, you got to go to the self checkout. So there's a lot of times where robots are like robots, AI, whatever you want to call it, new technology is taking jobs away from people that could be doing them. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So there's
Hmm.
a lot of examples of this in many industries. There's going to be a fully automated McDonald's, I think, opening up soon, where it's just all robots that make the food, check out the like
Yeah, I heard
everything.
that one. Yeah, yeah, I heard that one. They are serving food right now with I don't know. Yeah, I don't know in which place exactly, but I
I
did
forget
hear
what
about that
country.
one. Hmm.
So the fact that these, what I mean, and I get like, being in the entertainment industry, I'm obviously very drawn to this specific time where robots are taking jobs,
Think
but
over, yeah.
there's so many other examples of this in other industries that it's like, um, it's hard not to see that too, and to be like, do we care? Do we care as much about these ones? And I think it really does come down to if you're affected, if we personally are affected, then we're like,
Yeah.
stop there. But I think there needs to be maybe a look at like everything as a whole to be like, okay, what are we going to do about this if we're literally just taking jobs away from so many people that could work, and there's not enough jobs for people.
Yeah, that's
What
the
are we
thing.
gonna what are we gonna do?
Yeah, that's the thing here that the other day I was checking that at least here in Mexico in 10 years there's gonna be like even less jobs because of the whole technology and everything. I mean, and that is only here in this country, but imagine like worldwide, like the exact amount of people that his job might be in jeopardy because of
Yeah,
this whole stuff. I mean, I do think that they should be checking like the bigger picture, like actually the bigger picture, be like, okay, as you mentioned, how where should we stop? Otherwise it's going to be
yeah,
like in multiple films in which robots they take over, and then you have the human side, which is a rebellion, which is against it, and they're basically fighting them because yeah, they're just
yeah,
taking jobs and things like that. It's crazy. Or what if an AI has suddenly become sentient,
yeah,
and goes wild, which we know that in a lot of films that happens. So
yeah.
and it's like we're heading there, and it's like, no, I mean, haven't you learned from Terminator or other type of films? Don't do that. You know what I mean?
The craziest man, the craziest thing that I'm seeing, and it's like it doesn't really get shown in too many movies, but it's kind of the reality of it,
Mm.
is how quickly people embrace the new technology. It's never really a fight. It's like, oh, something new and easier. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Like,
It's crazy.
you know what I mean? Like, in the movies, there's just big debates, and and all these people that are against it. But it seems like a majority of people are like, "Oh, great! I get to just pay with my arm now. Perfect."
Yeah, no more wallets. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, I don't have to think anymore at my job. Perfect. Put it in me.
Yeah, yeah. No more cell phone, no ID. Everything is on the brain. If the police want to check it, they're just gonna put a scanner here, be like, "Oh, so you're this guy? Cool. You can, you know."
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. I can just magically. Yeah, there's so many. It's it's pretty wild. Like just
Yeah, it's crazy wild.
how accepted it becomes so quickly. Even the self checkouts, I noticed it for a long time. There was a little bit of a hesitancy. It didn't take long though. Even
Mm.
for myself, like I'll be honest, like for myself, I was kind of protesting it in my own way, just by like I want to say hi to a person, but it just got the waits became too long, and honestly, the people were not really, they were. I don't know if they're purposely staffing just people that were miserable, but they
Mm-hmm.
didn't seem very happy. It was
Mm-hmm.
like I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll just
Yeah.
you know, it's it's a pretty it's pretty wild. Just
Super wild, and also super quick that there are some people who are actually chatting more with AIs that with real people. You know that there's now
yeah,
this AI that basically it can be. The other day I was reading an article about that I don't know in which country they're having a problem because people are relying to having relationships like sexual relationships with an AI
oh
instead of
yeah,
an actual person. I was like, are you kidding me now? Like what
totally,
like I mean, and we are totally heading that way. That is like the train is going,
dude.
the train is coming. So it's
You mix
crazy.
that with the robots that they're making, like the sex robots with the AI, and
Yeah, no,
they're gonna
it's gonna.
say everything that you want to hear.
Yeah,
It's a
it's gonna.
it's a pretty wild time. I I don't know how this is gonna pan out for humanity, but it's fascinating time to be alive. That's for sure.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, yeah, it's a cool topic
Yeah.
by far. Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I'd rather be alive now than in like it's just cool that we're living through this, because I feel like in 50 years it's either going to go one way or another, but it's I think people are just going to be basically living in the, like, to bring it back to the Matrix, but it'll be like living in the Matrix. So but right now we're kind of at this cusp where we're like deciding whether or not we're gonna enter,
yeah, yeah. Or like in Wally, remember that everyone
Mm.
was leaving, that people were just living on their couch. Everything had to go, but like with technology and robots will do all the other jobs, and people will be just laying in the couch and do
Yeah,
everything near. I'm super sure. Yeah, that's gonna. It's crazy.
for a lot of folk that's what it's going to be like.
Crazy times. I mean, yeah. Wow. I mean, at the end, what can I say, man? I mean, incredible conversation here. We basically got off topic because of the Matrix. I mean, that's imagine, the Matrix caused that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, incredible topic here. Really cool. We basically spoke about a lot of stuff here. But I have a question here. If we
Mhm.
the last question basically is if we could make a film out of the episode we just did right now, what would be the title of it?
Oh, that's a great question. I think for some reason, out of everything that we talked about, the thing that's like sticking out the most is the robbery of like the people getting chipped and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like having to
Hand
like
job.
chop
Yeah, yeah.
chop the hands off. So what would we call that? Hmm. I think like something about a future, like a dystopian future. Hey, the plot of the movie is some sort of dystopian future where everyone's like implanted with things and whatnot. But what to call it? I mean, would call it hmm
Future with no hands.
future with no hands. That's a working title.
Could be.
What about something about like there's something about like when you hand robbery, theft, um oh, caught red-handed.
Caught red-handed.
Some I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
anyway. We know that the episode is like we know we're going down a dystopian route with this movie. So let's we got to settle on a title.
What about
Um,
chopping the future?
chopping the future. I like it. All right, chopping the future, or something about yeah, chopping the future. All right,
Or
that's my favorite.
or the chopping time heist.
Ooh, 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 yes. Okay. I like this.
Yeah,
Time.
like it has
Yeah.
time, future, theft, heist,
There
chopping,
we go.
and
Chopping time heist.
chopping time
Yeah.
heist. Yeah, I like it.
Perfect.
All right.
That's the next top 10 movie of all time.
That's gonna be a title of it. I mean, yeah, we have a title of it. I mean, at the end, what can I say, man? I mean, it's incredible. It's always incredible to have you back here, and it's always incredible
You
to
too.
have a chat with you. I want to thank those who watch this. Thank you so much, and those who stay here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you agree or not, if you want to add something else, let us know. But also, as I said in the beginning, in the description below, you're gonna find all of James' social media. Let's follow him. Let's make him viral. Hashtag Team James because he's incredible. And again, man, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep killing it. Keep being this incredible, amazing, badass dude you are. And hey, I'll be seeing the next one.
Thanks, brother. Always great chatting.
All right.
Cheers.